You know, retirement is supposed to be this golden time in our lives, a chance to finally relax, enjoy our hobbies, and spend time with loved ones. But if you're like a lot of folks I've talked to, you might find that instead of feeling peaceful, your mind is racing with worries. Maybe it's about finances, health, or even just this nagging feeling of, what should I be doing now? It's funny, isn't it? We spend years looking forward to retirement, and then when it finally arrives, we realize we weren't quite prepared for the emotional side of it. The structure of work is gone, the daily purpose might feel a little fuzzy, and suddenly, anxiety creeps in. But here's the good news, you're not alone, and more importantly, there are simple, practical ways to ease that worry and find real peace in this next chapter. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. 5 gentle but powerful ways to let go of anxiety and truly enjoy your retirement. These aren't complicated strategies, they're things you can start doing today, little by little, to feel more calm and in control. So let's begin with the first one, and it might surprise you because it's something we often forget to do as we get older, giving yourself permission to rest. For so many of us, our worth was tied to productivity. We worked hard, raised families, and always had a to-do list a mile long. Now that you're retired, there's this quiet pressure, maybe from yourself or even well-meaning family, to stay busy. But here's the truth, rest isn't laziness. It's healing. It's necessary. Think of it like this, if you spent decades running a marathon, wouldn't it make sense to catch your breath at the finish line? Yet so many retirees feel guilty for napping, reading a book just for fun, or sitting quietly with a cup of tea. But those moments of stillness? They're where peace begins. Try this. For the next week, allow yourself one small, rest ritual every day, whether it's a 20-minute lie-down after lunch or simply sitting outside and listening to the birds. Notice how your body and mind respond. You might just find that the world doesn't fall apart when you slow down. In fact, you might start feeling more like yourself again. Now, the second strategy is all about connection. One of the biggest sources of worry in retirement is the feeling of being untethered, like you've lost your place in the world. And while it's true that work friendships or the rhythm of a career fade, that doesn't mean you have to lose connection altogether. But here's the key, it doesn't have to look the way it used to. Maybe you're not up for big social gatherings anymore, and that's okay. What matters is finding small, meaningful ways to feel close to others. It could be as simple as a weekly phone call with an old friend, joining a gentle yoga class at the community center, or even striking up conversations with neighbors during your morning walk. I'll tell you a quick story. A friend of mine, Martha, told me that after she retired, she felt invisible. So she started volunteering just 1 hour a week at the local library, helping kids with reading. Not only did it give her a sense of purpose, but those little faces lighting up when they saw her? That became her new joy. You don't have to overhaul your life, just reach out in a way that feels right for you. And that brings us to the third way to ease anxiety, focusing on what you can control. Retirement comes with a lot of unknowns, health changes, financial shifts, even the loss of people we love. It's easy to spiral into what-ifs. But here's what I've learned, worry doesn't prevent bad things from happening, it just robs you of the good things right in front of you. So instead of trying to control everything, which, let's be honest, we never could, try this, each morning, name 1 or 2 small things you can influence. Maybe it's sticking to a budget, taking your medication on time, or choosing to laugh at something today. At night, reflect on those things. Over time, you'll train your mind to focus less on the storms you can't stop and more on the steps you can take. Now, we've covered 3 important strategies so far, allowing yourself to rest, nurturing connection, and focusing on what's in your control. But there are 2 more that can make a world of difference, and they're just as practical and gentle as what we've talked about already. So let's keep going, because the best part of retirement should be enjoying it, not spending it wrapped up in worry. You know, sometimes the simplest things make the biggest difference, especially when it comes to quieting that anxious voice in our heads. And that's exactly what our next strategy is about, moving your body in a way that feels good. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking: exercise? At my age? But hear me out, this isn't about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. It's about reminding your body that it's still alive, still capable of joy. When we move, our brains release chemicals that naturally ease anxiety. And the best part? It doesn't have to feel like work. Think back to when you were a kid. Did you ever just move for the fun of it? Maybe you danced to your favorite song, took long walks without a destination, or even gardened for hours without noticing the time. That's the spirit we're bringing back. Maybe for you, it's a daily 10-minute stretch when you wake up, a leisurely swim, or even just swaying to an old tune while you cook dinner. The key is to find what feels good, not punishing. I remember talking to a gentleman named Henry who told me his anxiety skyrocketed after he retired. His doctor kept telling him to exercise, but he hated gyms. Then one day, his grandson asked him to teach him how to fish. Those quiet mornings by the lake, casting a line, feeling the sun on his face, that became his workout. And without even realizing it, his shoulders stopped carrying so much tension. So ask yourself, what's your version of moving with joy? Start small. Even 5 minutes counts. Now, let's talk about the fifth strategy, one that might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but it's incredibly powerful: letting go of the need to have everything figured out. Retirement is a bit like standing at the edge of a dock, looking out at the water. For years, we had a clear path: work, family, responsibilities. Now, the horizon is wide open, and that freedom can feel terrifying instead of exciting. We pressure ourselves to have a plan, to make the most of our time, as if retirement is a project we might fail. But here's a secret: you don't have to have all the answers. It's okay to let some days unfold slowly, to experiment, to change your mind. Maybe you'll pick up a hobby and drop it 3 weeks later. Maybe you'll spend a whole month doing nothing but reading mystery novels, and that's fine. This isn't a test. It's your life. A dear friend, Evelyn, shared something that stuck with me. She said, "I spent my first year of retirement frantic, trying to fill every minute. Then one afternoon, I caught myself watching the way the light came through the curtains, and I realized, I didn't need to be doing anything at all to be happy." That's the gift of this stage: permission to just be. So if you find yourself worrying that you're not doing enough, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that this time is yours, no explanations needed. Some of the most peaceful moments come when we stop chasing and start allowing. Now, we've covered 5 meaningful ways to ease worry and find more peace in retirement: rest, connection, focusing on what you can control, joyful movement, and releasing the pressure to have it all figured out. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last thought that ties everything together. You know, one of the most beautiful things about getting older is that we've earned the right to rewrite the rules, especially when it comes to how we spend our days and where we put our energy. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from all this, it's that retirement isn't just an ending, it's an invitation. An invitation to finally put yourself first, to listen to what your heart and body really need, and to let go of the shoulds that don't serve you anymore. Now, I want to share one last idea that might seem simple, but it's truly transformative: practice gratitude for the small, ordinary moments. When anxiety creeps in, it's usually because our minds are either stuck in the past, worrying about what we could have done differently, or racing ahead to the future, playing out all the things that might go wrong. But peace? Peace lives in the present. And the quickest way to anchor yourself there is to notice the little things that are still good, still beautiful, still working just fine. Try this: tonight, as you're getting ready for bed, think of 3 small things that made today worthwhile. Maybe it was the way your coffee tasted just right this morning, or how the cashier at the store smiled at you, or even that cozy old sweater that softened perfectly over the years. Nothing is too small to count. Over time, This habit rewires your brain to scan for what's right instead of what's worrisome. I'll never forget what a viewer named Robert told me after trying this. He said, "At first, I thought it was silly, my knees hurt, my pension wasn't perfect, so what was there to be grateful for? But then I started noticing things, like how my cat always curls up next to me at 3 p.m., or how my neighbor waves from his porch. Now I fall asleep counting those moments instead of my worries." And that's the thing about gratitude, it doesn't erase life's challenges, but it does remind us that good still exists alongside them. Now, let's take a step back and weave all these strategies together, because they work even better when combined. Imagine your ideal retirement day. You wake up and allow yourself to rest instead of jumping into chores. You connect with someone you care about, even if it's just a short phone call. You focus on what you can control, maybe you choose to eat a nourishing meal or take your medications on time. Later, you move your body in a way that feels good, whether that's gardening or dancing in your living room. And as the day winds down, you let go of the need to have it all figured out, maybe even laughing at something silly instead of overthinking. Finally, you notice a few small joys before bed. That's how these habits stack up, not as a rigid checklist, but as gentle guideposts leading you back to yourself. Some days you'll do them all, other days, just one will be enough. And that's perfectly okay. Because here's the truth, retirement isn't a problem to solve. It's a season to savor. Sure, there will still be worries, that's part of being human, but they don't have to run the show anymore. You've spent decades caring for others, meeting deadlines, and keeping it all together. Now is your time. So if you take nothing else from this video, remember this: you are allowed to feel peaceful. You're allowed to enjoy slow mornings and quiet afternoons. You're allowed to change your mind, to say no, to prioritize what makes your soul feel light. That isn't selfish, it's wisdom. And if you ever forget, come back to these 5 touchstones: rest, connection, control what you can, move with joy, and release the rest. They're like a compass you can always realign with. Before I go, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one small thing that helped you worry less in retirement? Maybe it's something we talked about today, or perhaps you found your own unique trick. Let's learn from each other, because we're all in this chapter together. And if this resonated with you, hit that like button. It helps others find these conversations too. Don't forget to subscribe for more honest talks about making the most of these golden years. Until next time, remember, your best days aren't behind you. They're right here, waiting to be noticed, one peaceful moment at a time. Here's to living them well.